Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel, My Life as Monique. So guys, I wanted to do some videos and this way we can conversate and interact in the comments like we normally do, right? So this is Judge Tammy Long Hayward. She is a judge here in the state of Georgia where I'm at. And this particular episode is a young man who's been in jail for a little while. And I want to ask you guys, at what age, I've asked you guys this before, what age is the age that a child or a young adult should, have to leave the house to stand on their own, especially if they're a man? So let's look at this court proceeding. And I'm going to interrupt a little bit with my commentary, but this is for fair use, for education and commentary purposes. And so I want you to think while you're listening to this and watching this and understand this is a judge. What age is the age? Irregardless of the economy right now, yes, things are high, but look, the same standards, in my opinion, they still stand. In order for people to become adults or to be responsible, they have to go at some point in time. So what time is the time? At what point do you tell a young woman or young man, look, you have to get up out of my house? So listen to what she has to say, and I will come back with my commentary.
Or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down. Mr. Johnson, you're before the court for a plea, State of Georgia versus Keith Nathaniel Johnson. You're represented by attorney Justin White, who's here with you in the courtroom. Mr. White, what is your client plea to the offenses before the court? 1, obstruction of an officer; 2, obstruction of an officer; and 4, criminal trespass.
Your Honor, he's pleading to count, I guess this is 4 criminal trespass. The 2 obstructions are to be null pros, Your Honor. And he's pleading guilty.
All right. So, Mr. Johnson, by entering a plea of guilt to criminal trespass, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest shall negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, sir?
Yes.
All right. Factual basis recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On May the 7th, 2023, officers were dispatched to Jonesboro, Georgia, in Clayton County. Your Honor, the officers were dispatched because of a domestic disturbance. Your Honor, the officer indicated that the victims, who in this case were defendant's parent, indicating that defendant was cursing them out. Your Honor, the officer indicated that the victims stated that whilst they were waiting for the officers to be present at the incident location, the defendant then locked the door, stood in front of the door, and locked his parents out of the house. Your Honor, when the officers arrived, the officers...
So I'm going to stop here. This is a situation where the altercation was between the son and the parents. So the parents are the victims. And it's showing here, he's basically reading and saying that he locked the parents out of the house. He was cursing at his mom and dad. And I guess they probably called the cops and went to wait outside. Well, he goes and he locks the parents out the house. Okay. So maybe this will help you to understand what is going to happen and when the judge says what she has to say. But let's finish listening.
Made contact with the defendant. The officers then requested defendant for ID. Defendant refused. The officers asked for defendant's name and date of birth. Defendant refused. Defendant then started acting aggressively towards the officers. The officers then proceeded to arrest defendant. Defendant stiffened his body to pull away from the officers, trying to avoid being handcuffed. Your Honor, that is the factual basis. The state recommendation will be counts 1 will be non-pros, counts 2 will be non-pros, counts 3 will be 12 months to serve 25 days. The balance will be suspended and do not return and stay away.
So the cops come. He refuses to give his name and to show ID to the cops, becoming aggressive, stiffening up his body so he can't be arrested. Really? Like, bruh, do you know the state that you're living in? But nevertheless, if he's aggressive like that toward the cops, and he's aggressive like these toward his parents, child, please. Let's see what the judge and his attorney has to say.
All right, so Mr. Kotoroki, make sure that the record is complete, that you have the address that they're to stay away from and the name of the victims who they're supposed to stay away from. So this is Mr. Johnson. Mr. White, on behalf of Mr. Johnson, do you have any concerns about his ability to enter into this plea?
No, Your Honor.
All right. And Mr. Kotoroki, did you want to provide that information?
Yes, Your Honor. The first victim will be Mr. James K. Johnson, and the second victim will be Miss Alana Johnson.
Okay. All right. So
I'm sorry. Could I have the spelling of Alana, please?
Yes. So that A as in Alpha, R as in Robert, L-E-N-A.
Okay. All right. Ms. Wright, did you have everything?
Let me repeat that. A as in Apple, R as in Robert,
Yes.
L-E-N-A.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
All
you.
right. Mr. White, anything else on behalf of Mr. Johnson?
Your Honor, I just want to put on the record Mr. Johnson has been in jail since May of this year. He's been in jail for a while. We did file the motions he originally pled not guilty back in June. Then we filed the motions. The motion was continued, I believe, 2 times. And it's kept being put on different calendars, hence why he's been in jail for such a long time. Based on some information he told me the last time I spoke with him, we've just gone ahead and decided to enter a plea, Your Honor.
All right. All right. So, Mr. Johnson, my apologies for the extended stay. The court is going to accept your plea. I'll sentence you to 12 months to serve 25 days credit for time served. Balance will be suspended as long as you do not go back to the incident location and that you do not have contact with the individuals listed for the remainder of the 12-month period. Okay. All right. You can go back with the sheriff's office and you should be released today if there's nothing else holding you. All right, who's the gentleman coming forward?
So as you can see, she's releasing this young man, right? He served some time since May. I have to look and see when the date of this hearing was. But then you see 2 people back here coming forward. Those are his parents, his father and his mom. Now, I know a lot of people will think, oh my gosh, this just happens in these type of situations. Family issues happen, whether you're a single mom, there could be parents in the household. But I think there's just some basic things that we as parents need to understand no matter what, where you come from. So let's listen. The parents are coming up because he's getting released, but he got to go somewhere. But there's a no contact with the victims, and the victims are his mom and his dad. So let's see what they're going to say when they get up there to the counter to talk to this judge.
Oh, Your Honor, the victims in Mr. Johnson's case are here. I believe they wish to speak.
All right, let's hold Mr. Johnson up. Come on up, sir. Come on up.
Well, hold on, Mr. Johnson. I'm James Keith Johnson, the father of Keith Johnson. I do not feel threatened by him, and it's okay for him to return.
All right, so Mr. Johnson, let's have a brief conversation. So how old is your son?
Could you repeat?
How old is your son?
27.
So wait a minute. He's saying he doesn't feel threatened by his son, but his son obviously does not care. This is a big man, okay? His son obviously didn't care about the cops and didn't care about the fact that, you know, his dad is twice his size. He does not care. And obviously that behavior has been established. Me personally, in this situation, you know, I have sons, but I'm a woman, right? And if I have a 6 foot tall, he looks like he's about three and change, right? And the young man is 27 and doesn't care, he couldn't come back because obviously he does not care. He doesn't fear his dad. He has no respect for his dad and his mom. And quite frankly, we're going to hear why this happens. Okay.
Okay. And does he have any issues that the court should be aware of?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So no concerns for mental health or anything like that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So is he living separate from you?
He's living with us. He's a resident there at 655 Washington Drive.
Okay. What is the reason that he's living with you as a grown man?
We was helping him out.
So, Mr. Johnson, I'm a parent, so I speak as a judge and a parent, and I've been doing this for 11 years. It is hard for adults to be adults in the same house. If somebody doesn't have skin in the game, then if they want to be an adult, but they ain't put nothing on it, it's very difficult, and that causes a lot of problems.
You know, I love Judge Hayward. I'll leave a link for some of her Zooms, but she said first and foremost, I love her. She's fair. You know, she's fair. And she says, first, I'm a parent and I'm a judge. She said, I've been doing this for 11 years. And if you don't have any skin in the game, a child can't be a parent if they're still in the same household with you, if there's really no skin in the game. And then that other also leads over to respect. And I personally got out of my house I literally was out of my home at 14, not because I wanted to, but then I was out of my house at 17, 18 years old. And I've never been back because you have to figure it out. Nor did I want to go back. But I've been out of my home paying my own bills, taking care of my children with my husband because I did get married. But we've never been back. But when I look at other families and even in my own situation, there's something to this. I was personally told, I told y'all this story before. His name is James Miller. I don't know where James is at. He told me, he was like, look, he knew my government name. And I guess he must have sensed something in me. He sensed the empathy. He sensed that, you know, I think he probably could just read my body and language. Like I was always like, you know, I want to be supportive to my children and to anybody else's children because I didn't get a lot of support at all. I was just out there. You know, when I say out there, I went to school and work, but there was no support. I had no one to go to say, can I help with this? Can you help me with my bills? This and that other. And so, or, you know, just guidance. And so I guess he saw that and he was like, look, with my son and daughter, they got to go to the military, go to some kind of trade school or college, but they have to get out of my house. He said, so with my daughter, she gets 6 extra months than my son. He said, with your sons, you need to make them go at 18. Now, don't ask me how he knew this. I didn't listen, but let's just go back to what Judge Hayward has to say.
And a lot of what I see when there's conflict between a parent and an adult child is a parent thinking that they're helping an adult child when really you're breaking their wings.
Yep. That's
because
facts.
until somebody gets out in the world and learns what they need to do to go forward in the world and be successful, then any attempt to help them really is a hindrance. Every successful person that I know personally, whether their parents communicated it to them like verbally or whether they made it clear at the age where they finished high school, you can do any of these things, military, college, trade school, work, any of those things, but you can't continue to live here.
I think, and this is personally, I believe what she's saying as a judge because she has more experience and knowledge. And when I look at my life and other people's lives, those parents who told their kids or the kids had to go and figure it out at 16, 17, and 18 years old. I think 16 is rather young, but 18 and up, or you have to go. And she said on her bench, when she sees parents that have problems, it is those that they keep them there or allow them to stay there and baby them. And you saying you're helping, and really, I know, especially moms, single moms, you need to understand this with your sons. You're not helping them. You're hindering them. And the conversation should be had at 18 that, wait, you got up until you 21. You have to go. You can't stay here. They have to figure it out. I'm telling you, that is the best thing. Even in this crazy economy, it is the best thing. I'm telling you, they will respect you more because they know what you had to go through to get what you have. They will respect what they do have, the things you have done for them, and they will have that work ethic, and respect authority. This young man, 27, first of all, it's just my belief he need to get a haircut. You couldn't even see his face. I couldn't even tell what his face looked like with the dreads. But anyway, I believe what she's saying. She has the experience. She's been on the bench. And I think a lot of mothers, you're not helping your sons. You're hindering them, your sons or daughters. And I think that's why we have this epidemic of young, disrespectful, entitled children or adults, young adults, who feel like they can say, do, act, behave to their parents because you let them stay there too long. They got comfortable and they felt like, okay, it was all, the respect level is not there. Okay, so let's see what else she has to say. What do y'all think about what I'm saying in this whole video? Because, but look at what they say.
And it is only when we release our grown children into the world that they learn how to appreciate everything that you've worked hard to provide for them, because they got to work hard to provide for themselves. And so at 27 years old, y'all need to give him an eviction date. This is the date by which you will be getting out of our house and establishing yourself separately. Because continuing to hold on to him and we helping him, you're not helping him.
Nope.
You're not. And all it's going to do is cause conflict because you can't be grown in another grown person's house.
And you know what? When I look at not only family and friends, I look at the mothers who coddled their children, especially their sons, and their sons turn out to be disrespectful. They end up on drugs. I mean, this is what I've seen, and it's just a lot of conflict. And you think in your older age that these people will be here to maybe even help out? No. I've watched this phenomenon happen with 2-3 generations. I just watched it. And the mothers that told them, you need to go to college, get out, the kids were fine. There was mutual respect between the parents and the children. But those that allowed them to stay there till they're 50 years old, no kind of respect, entitlement, disrespect. They don't want to work. They just want to lay up. And it was a situation that I recently kept saying, well, what if something happens to the mother? What's going to happen to him? Because this person is a grown adult over 40 something years old, was living with his mom, and unfortunately she passed away. And, you know, it handicaps them when you do that. You know, you gotta make them go, and they have to figure it out. So let's see what else she has to say.
I'm not grown in my mama's house. I am well of age. I'm sure I'm probably both older than both of y'all. And I walk into my mama's house, and in her mind, I'm still 12. I can't be grown in her house. And I understand that. And so I govern myself accordingly. And then I get my tail back onto my house where I am grown. But I also know that being out in the world has made me resilient, responsible, and it has made me understand that I can achieve and do things on my own 2 feet. And so when parents think that they're helping, we're paying the bills, he's here, he might be working a little job, but we doing everything else. You're not making him a man. What age did you get out in the world and start having to work